the Human Algorithm podcast. Today's episode of the podcast is filmed at Vivid Media Studio, also our venue sponsor for these conversations. Since this is my 20th episode, I'm sitting down with someone who has grown with me through every change. She met me before the skirts, the label like gender fluid or pansexual, the layoffs, and including the founding of Human Algorithm. She stood beside me when I chose visibility in the conservative society and helped me when our daughter was diagnosed with global developmental delay. So my wife, Felicia, is here at the podcast today. Let's start with something fun. What is something that people don't know about you before you became my wife and, a mother? Who were you when no one was watching?
I feel like I'm just an anime otaku who enjoys K-pop songs, but I don't have any dance abilities. So I think it's quite interesting because I do like sports a lot. I used to do wakeboarding a little bit, and then back in secondary school I did a lot of basketball. Yeah.
I think our interests are totally different. Like, I'm really not into anime. Yeah. So maybe we start from the beginning, right, for our listeners. So when we first met, right, I would describe myself as, someone who was putting a lot of masks and, trying to be someone that I was not, or hiding who I really was, right? So what did you see in me that you believe that I could be a better person?
Oh, that's a tough question.
Yeah, no, what do you feel like you saw in me that made you stay or made you believe?
Okay. I think for me, main thing was ambition. I feel that to find someone is not just, I don't know, I think I'm at an age whereby I was looking for a partner. It's always about someone's ambition, their interests, what's their goal in life. Not much of appearances, because I feel appearances is more fantasy in a sense, like, oh, K-pop, oh my goodness, the oppa looks so good, all that, right? But I think to really settle with someone, it's someone who sees your potential and then to root you through no matter what. So I think it's always important to find a cheerleader as well. So I see that really highly in you. So even though a lot of times I feel like I procrastinate a lot, I just go with the flow, but then you always give me the nudge that I feel like I need it at the right time. There's no sugarcoating. It's just like, if this is what you want, go for it. That's why I saw it.
Yeah. I also feel like, I felt like very comfortable and safe around you. Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't feel it with any other people that I've dated before. But, when we first went out and remember our prata and movie date. Prata was a supper, but we went for
Nam, like some some Vietnamese food
the Vietnamese
thing,
for dinner, and then we went for movie. I don't remember what the movie was, but I felt like you were someone that I could talk to and feel comfortable around with. And I also, like, I didn't tell you this on the first date, but subsequently I told you that I was not just interested in women, but also different genders as well. And what went through your head initially when I first told you that?
I feel like it was curiosity. To me, I always have this open mindset of gender. I think growing up, my mom didn't really put a gender like, women must marry men and stuff like that. So, even watching my parents growing up, sometimes it's tough. I think between straight parents as well. So to me, I was kind of open in the earlier years whereby, there's no gender labeling. So I feel that it's always important to find someone who I can connect with. It's more important than just like, I just want to settle down for someone. Yeah. I think very early on, I told myself that if I don't date someone, it has to be someone I can rely on. Doesn't matter what gender it is. Yeah.
Did it change your impression of me?
Not really. I think it's cute. A lot of part is curiosity, like why certain things or what attract. I think what helps us connect a lot is our openness to gender.
Yeah.
It's always about that connection.
Yeah.
Like you term the word pansexual, right? You just, so long you're attracted to someone in whatever it is, it's not the appearance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when after I came, I think we talked about it, like we discussed before me coming out, like 2024, and when I started telling people, not just you, right? Just telling people that I was not straight, that, I was wearing a skirt, dress, and all that, right? Like, how did you feel initially when this was happening?
Do you mean the impression from friends, or it's just more like me towards you?
Yeah, you towards me.
I always view it as more something is interesting.
Yeah.
So it's like, what is Sean's fashion style, right?
Yeah.
Because all the while you've been dressing very masculine, very sporty, the button shirt guy with sharp look and nice shaved hair, right? So it's always interesting, like, okay, what is his style? Because I know that you are someone who is very bold in colors and prints, right?
Like
so
our
I think,
wedding hair.
Yeah, wedding hair. So I remember, like, it was very fun. I think wedding shoot, we went really crazy with the hair. First, I think you had blonde, and then I had pink hair.
Yeah.
And then closer to the wedding, we kind of switched around where you have like neon, like bright as your pants, that
Yeah,
orange.
I also had green hair once.
Oh yeah. I think that was after the transition of the bright orange, and
Yeah,
then I
yeah,
had
yeah.
a bluish purple thing,
Yeah. Every
and then with the
photo shoot
green.
we had different hair.
Yeah. I thought it was really fun. I feel like there's always this bold side of you, but it's not expressed through your fashion or the work that you do. I think, yes, in journalist style, you're someone who's bold, who's wavered in terms of what's right and wrong, right? But then it doesn't translate to the rest of your life, I guess, like fashion stuff. But I think once you came out, it becomes more like, wow, this is what it is. So it's always, to me, it's always curiosity and interesting. Yeah. No judgment.
Was there any hesitation on your part, like, that you didn't want me to tell anyone or come out publicly?
I think no. I always respect the decision that you make, which I really like. I think for me, it's more of what the public, initially when it first came out, what the public perceive of you. It's always about safety,
Yeah.
What if you get beat up? What it's, more like safety issues. Yeah. What if someone come up to you and just like bash you just because you look different? It's always about safety. Yeah.
And in terms of people around us, right, like our family members, our friends, everyone obviously had questions because all of the questions went to you.
Yeah.
And I said in my first episode of the podcast as well, like all the questions, you became my PR person because everyone asked you a question like what's happening to Sean. How did you react to these questions in terms of like emotionally and also like how did you answer these questions?
I think for me, what flooded first was the DMs and Instagram, like, how's your marriage? It's always the first that hit, how's your marriage right now, Sean Transit. I think coming from, I guess, the vague knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Everyone is like, if someone transit, it means like the biggest break in the marriage,
Yeah.
It could be like suddenly he's not interested in women anymore because he's relating more to feminine side. What is this going to be next, right? I think it comes from a place of concern for me, which I'm also very grateful for, like having such great family and friends. I think for me, it's just addressing one question at a time.
Yeah.
Because I think, I would say general, people don't have when you don't have much knowledge on the LGBTQ plus, population.
Yeah.
It's kind of a shock. Not everyone's educated in this, not in school, not by family or friends. Most of the time, people is just like, I have a gay friend, and then that's it. Like what is it about gay friend? Oh, they're flamboyant and stuff like that. But then there's so much spectrum we should go through. Like, there's I think it was gender. First is gender, and then there's sexuality as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and I get it as well, right? Like, a lot of people asking, are we still married? How can we still be married?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think, with the traditional thinking of marriage I think it's flawed because, like you say, in better, it's between a man and a man or man and a woman or, a gender fluid person and a woman.
Yeah.
It's about the love that we have for each other and not just like what we want the definition of marriage to be. Yeah. And also I think it was a tricky decision because we had a daughter.
Yeah.
We have a daughter, Mallory, right? And I think one of the reasons why I come out and I told you this also is that I want her not to hide her true authentic self.
Yeah.
and not to go through what I went through, like, hiding myself, and I became a toxic masculine person, I got arrested and all that. But what was a consideration you had for her when I came out? Yeah.
I think first of all, it's because she's non-verbal. I think it's hard when you see kids around her age, her classmates who can talk. We don't know how long this non-verbal thing will last as well.
Yeah.
Is it a lifetime? Could it be just a couple of years more? Because a lot of friends told us, like, this non-verbal thing could eventually grow out. She might go into primary school and make friends and stuff like that. But to us, a real concern is, when eventually she goes to primary school, can she talk or not? And then next part is, how can she defend herself when you don't have a voice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think also, like, a lot of people, especially because I'm very visible on Instagram. We collaborate a lot on posts, and I share a lot about my story as well, right? And we get a lot of these hate comments from people who probably don't understand, or they don't approve of what we are doing.
Yeah.
So how do you look at haters, or how do you deal with haters? Because you know how I deal with them, but how do you deal with them?
I think you do with a lot of grace, the way you answer them, what can you do about it?
Yeah.
I think initially the first part I got very affected, because to me it's always, I get a little bit sensitive. Like, it gets on to me, it rubs off at me a little bit personally, like someone I love is being trolled online. But then I think we always joke about it, is like, one day you're going to get AI and hunt them down, trace them to your doorstep and knock on the door, like, how dare you comment this in my face, like, come out of your fake profile.
Yeah.
I think eventually for me I think people hate someone else because it's just a projection of themselves, It's nothing about what the person do. I think what you do is great, because you just, at least leave them what they be, I just want to live my true authentic life. But these people is like, oh, how dare they live beyond their individual perspective or boundaries, which really cross them. Like, you see some really hate comments, it's like, that they come from a stem. I don't think that hate is really projected right to you. It just so happened that you fall beyond their boundaries, or what they expect as a norm. Understanding of what is a norm. Yeah.
And what's your response to people to you, like, oh, you don't have a husband anymore, or you need a man in your life, that kind of thing? What's your response to them?
I don't know. I don't really have friends asking me that.
Yeah. Usually it's the fake profiles on
I think it's
Instagram.
fake profile. I don't really have
if you had to answer them, how will you answer them?
Mind your own business. Because I think every relation is different, right? Like, why are you projecting onto me on what your thoughts are, right?
Yeah.
Like, why you don't have a man in your life anymore? I'm like, so what?
Yeah.
I have other things to care about, like bills, my daughter's education, her therapy, all that. To me, the last thing on my mind is to worry about what haters think, or I mean, they're not, like what you always say, they don't bring us income. Why should I let them affect my mind?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are also a lot of people say that, oh, what I'm doing is unfair to you. Do you think that is what you feel as well?
No, I think hell no. Fair, like, based on whose judgment is this? Like, what is fair and not unfair?
Yeah.
I think our relationship has not moved. I think, in fact, it got us stronger, because I think the love has never changed. It's been growing with your transitioning. I think it's always interesting for me, like, how much can I accept as well? It's a lot of my personal growth as well. Like, my partner's growing, because I always feel that in relationship there is a growth. If not, the relationship becomes very stagnant. Even, I think for me, aside from your growth, it's also my growth as well as a person. Yeah.
And with our daughter, like you say, Mallory is not talking at the moment, and we don't know when she will talk, right? And there are people like asking us in comments, or on TikTok, or even like on Instagram, like, oh, are you afraid that she'll get bullied, or do you think that it's fair to her of what we are doing? And I always say that as parents, right, because children are not born to hate. They are taught to hate.
Yeah.
And what we are teaching her is, this is safe space at home, right? And that we are inclusive family, we bring her to Pink Dot and all that. Yeah, so what's your take on that?
I think when it comes to parenting, there is somehow with I think becoming a mom, a lot of people just put you under a microscope. You know, what you're doing is right, your parenting is wrong, this and that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, shut the fuck up. Just let me do whatever I want to do,
Yeah.
right? So when I put my child is thriving, she has roof under her head, she's fed well, she's good with school. I think that's more important to me than thinking about, is my parenting right or wrong? So who are you to tell us, like, are we being fair to our child or not?
Yeah.
Right? We're not abusing her. That's so, I don't see, why? And then if they are, the way they question like this, they're definitely not in our lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And talking about Mallory, right, you know, I always said that one of my greatest fear is is that we will never hear her voice. What about you? What's your greatest fear for her?
I would say people's judgment. You know, your parents are so different, you are very different. I think that hits really hard because we always want to find our own circle of people that we want to be norm, you know.
Yeah.
But the fact is, most of the people around, I think more and more generations are more accepting as well. People are more open to neurodiverse, queers as well. So I think things will get better. You know, So to me, I just want her to be happy, you know. Find your chosen family, find your chosen friends. You don't have to blend in.
Yeah. And I think like we recently seen her, you know, one of our goals is to make it a safe space for her at home, right?
Yeah.
And she can be angry, she can roll on the floor, she can shout, but we tell her not to hit us, bite us and all that, right? And I think we also hear from our teachers that she doesn't do that in school or her therapy as well. But at home, because she feels safe with us, that's why she's doing it. And I think it's a progress of what she has gone through in therapy and the home that we created for her. And, you know, do you feel like, is there anything that we can do more or something that, you know, do you feel like her progress is fast enough in that sense?
It's very hard to gauge, to be honest. If you're using as amongst her classmates, it's not fair for her, I think. But what I see every day is milestones, simple milestones that really makes me feel very blessed that she's able to progress. So I remember the other day I got this kid scissors, right? And we got her using these scissors to cut paper.
Yeah.
It's a really new motor skill, right? Which I don't think she has never ever learned before.
Yeah.
But then it piqued her interest because we spent like half an hour just to cut paper, right? So after that, and then the next day, I realized that she reached out for the same scissors and then she started cutting things. But of course it's a kid scissors, so it's not like she's gonna hurt herself, right?
Yeah.
So I see she keeps going back to the same activity, like she's picking that challenge.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's curious and then it piques her interest, like, oh, I can cut paper.
Yeah.
Then she kept doing it. Another example is the mop thing, you know.
Yeah. Our toilet mop.
Our toilet. So after we shower, usually because we don't have a windscreen, right?
Yeah.
A glass panel.
Yeah.
Then we always use the squeegee, like the floor squeegee, to like kind of scrape the water away. So I remember she was very curious about it. So after I showered, then she was curious, and then I gave her do the action once, right? And then I feel like she
keeps doing it.
She keeps doing it. So I was like, oh, she does remember. That's interesting. So I feel like it does add on to her skills every day. It's just, I think.
Yeah, I feel like she remembers more of what we tell her now.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, for example, yesterday when I wanted to dress her for school, she wanted to eat a biscuit, right? Her favorite biscuit. And I tell her that, oh, we dress for school first. I dress you for school first. Then I give you the biscuit.
Yeah.
So after I dress her, then I pretend that I forgot what I said. And I went to open the door. And she got very upset. Like, she remembered what I said.
I can imagine.
Yeah, and then she went to push and close the door. and demanded that I give her the biscuit. So that's when I realized that she remembered what we say. Just that whether she want to do it or not is another thing, right?
I think there was another one long term whereby I promised her, like, because the next day was my off day, I was like, okay, I'm gonna cycle you to school in the morning. So the next day I was like, oh, I'm so tired. I was like, okay, your dada is gonna send you to school, and then she kept dragging me. I was like, why she kept dragging me? How come she's so persistent today? Usually you're the one sending her, right? Then I realized, oh yeah, I promised her yesterday. I'm gonna cycle her to school. Then I was like, oh okay.
Yeah.
So she does remember and cling on to stuff like that. So I think it's really hard when friends, instead of milestone, they come to us, they ask, hey, has your daughter started saying mama and dada?
Yeah.
Which is a little bit of a, I mean, it's still not their fault. It's just that it's kind of hard to gauge, I guess. They don't have much neurodiverse kids in their circle.
Yeah.
So the first thing to them is speech. Oh yeah, your daughter has, speech delay. No, can you say mama and dada? But I feel that there are other talents that she's able to do, or skill sets. Like she's good in sports. What else her therapist teacher say? Like sports and
cutting the fruits.
yeah, I think following instructions as well.
Yeah.
She likes puzzles. So
yeah. And she's going for her autism assessment next month, right? And it's been almost 2 years since she was diagnosed with like GDD and being on the spectrum and all that. Like, we waited quite a while, so like 6 months for Faye where she's going now, right? Do you feel like the system needs to improve, or is there like how do you feel about raising a neurodiverse kid in Singapore at the moment?
I think we're going back to the previous question, right? About school system. Let's say school system. I think one thing really stood out for us. I think the teachers approached us, on her speech, which got us. Okay, something is lacking. She's 2 years old. Why she's not speaking certain things? I think it's good that school can point out earlier. We have more teachers being educated on this. How do you sieve out children who needs more help?
I think what you say earlier also, like, whenever I send her to school, right, and I see her classmates talking or having a conversation with their parents, right, then I feel jealous sometimes.
Yeah, it does hit hard.
But I have to remember that, we are not comparing her with other kids. Like, we see progress through other things. And, as she grows older, right, like, we bring her to Pink Dot, we expose her to as much inclusivity, like the books we read to her as well, very inclusive, right? Like, how do you, what's your advice to other parents whose kids are maybe, different, whether neurodiversity or whether they are queer as well? Like, what's your advice to other parents?
I think rather than passing judgment on what you think it is, listen to your kids first. Ask them what is it to them, what is it to be what is it to be queer, for example, what does it mean to them, what's the ideals of their partners, how they see their lives, and then from there be a cheerleader, because if you're not going to be your kid's cheerleader, who's going to be? You don't want them to see you as someone who is just a shelter and food provider, which is really sad, right? I think emotional connection is always the strongest, I think growing up as Asian, a lot of times, parents will always put that above you, I provide you food, I provide you shelter, and that's
Sound
it.
like my parents.
And then that's it, right? But I think it goes beyond, what happens when your kids grow up, they are able to provide for themselves. So what is left for your kid to keep returning back to you, beyond financial means, for example.
And we talk about her, but let's talk about ourselves also, right? For me, I've been building human algorithm like 1.5 years already. Like since I think October 2024 when I lost my job, and then I started building human algorithm. You saw me build from scratch, right? From nothing to making like more than I ever did in corporate job. Like, what was the hardest part for you initially when I started building my own company? And how do you support me? Yeah.
I think financially we were very, very tight. We were
Yeah.
so close to bankrupt, right? We were
Yeah.
like, should we declare bankruptcy or not? Plus, it was so unexpected to be let go from the job at that time because
Yeah.
I was a freelancer as well. And suddenly we were both freelancers. So I think there was a huge stress on finance part.
Yeah. Because you also just moved into a new place.
Yeah, it was a huge loan. Oh my goodness. So I think for me, I think for you, I saw like a straight breakdown, you know, like, oh no, what's going to happen? No, I just got let go of my job. What's next, right? For me, I was very optimistic, you know, okay, you know, what's our next plan? It's always, do not look back and grieve. It's always, okay, what's our next step? What are we going to do to better the instance, you know? There's no time to waste. I think if we don't have a child, we still can kind of take it easy, you know, maybe get a sabbatical break, like 2 to 3 months, right? But I think with kid, the pressure's on, you know, what is she going to feed next month? Our loans, what's going to happen? Are we going to get kicked out of our house? What's the next plan? Yeah. So I think for me, I felt that you went through this grief part, and then suddenly, the next time I talked to you, it was like, oh, since, you know, I got so much time on my hand, I want to do the podcast I always wanted to do, but my company previously did not really push through, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so suddenly I saw this fire. It's like, okay, I need to get shit done. Yeah, so podcast after podcast, suddenly there's a lot of drive in you as well. I think there's a lot of self-learn where you start reading more help books, which I don't think I can ever do it even when I'm self-employed. Looking at other creators as well, you know. So I feel like there was a lot of creative energy suddenly from you. Like, oh, there's so much drive that I want to do that. It's very different from what I see in your years of your career, working for someone. Yes, you get the next pitch, you get the next story, but then it's from a point whereby I want to prove myself. And not I'm doing this work for my own pride, I say. Would probably be the right word, or more your own achievement.
Yeah, like I own it.
Yeah, you
because
own
I do
it. Yeah,
myself.
that's the right word. Yeah.
And you know, we also train martial arts, right?
Yeah.
Like I do Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, you do Jiu-Jitsu, so you compete as well.
Yeah.
Like, what does, you know, like self-defense, because firstly it's self-defense, right? But it's also being strong.
Yeah.
What does strength mean for you in our family?
I would say emotional bond. That's what I prioritize the most. I mean, physical strength, you can always sign up for a PT, go for classes. I think emotional strength is always good. Find your tribe.
Yeah.
When you find them, just stick to them and not let go.
Yeah. And I think our roles also a bit reversed in the family, right? Like, because you will have a 9 to 5 job and I can work from home.
Yeah.
So I'm sending Mallory to school, I'm picking her up, I'm going for her appointments with her, and then you can train for your competition. How do you feel about that kind of like rule that we have right now? Although you don't spend much time with her.
I think it's very different spending. I feel like I'm the novelty parent where the child sees suddenly she'll stick on because, oh, I only see mommy all day, right? I think we are a good pace where we don't have to, it's hard to explain to people. You know, when friends ask like, your husband's doing all the job, you know, what, as a mom, right? What is your role in this parenthood, I would say? So usually I just tell them that, you know, my husband is the mom and I'm the dad. And then they kind of click it a little bit. Oh yeah, dad has to earn the income and stuff like that. I mean, of course, to me, ideally, it's always to transit out of a corporate job and go back to freelancing. But I think meanwhile, this is what it's works for our family financially. I think I'm also very blessed in the sense that you are very supportive as well. You know, we train at different timing. We always make time for ourselves. I think it's also important how we carve times to work out. You know, there's no excuses like, oh, I'm so tired, I don't work out. I think it's always good to have a discipline to fall back to have a stress relief, to surround yourself with other people.
Yeah, because I train like at noon, and then you train in the evening, so that I can pick Mallory up also. I used to train like in the morning. Like
I don't know how you do 7
when
o'clock
she was a
class.
baby, when I was still in corporate job and she was still a baby, I had to wake up at like 5,
Yeah.
go for like 6+ a.m. class.
That's insane. I don't
Yeah,
know
and
how
then
people
after
can do
that, after that it kind of switched. Like I went in the
Yeah.
evening, and then you train in the
Afternoon, yeah, I did noon classes.
Yeah, so we were very flexible, and I don't think we ever complained, right?
No, I feel we respect each other's workout time. I
Yeah.
think we both established early on that exercising is something that we both love to do. It's a good stress relief. It's where we recharge. Yeah.
And you know, if Mallory were to watch this episode, because ultimately, as you know, like I created this podcast so that she can read about or listen to people who are, you know, struggling and still find ways to be strong. With all the other episodes that I've spoken to, like, and in this episode will be very special for her because it's both
Yeah.
parents, right? What do you think you want her to learn from this episode? For me, I want her to understand the decisions that we make for her, and also for ourselves as well, right? When she watched this growing up, yeah.
I would say that this podcast you've been doing more is what Joy said, it's like love letter to her. Yeah. That everyone struggles, I think. Everyone struggles, but it's important to find someone to talk about it. And we are always a safe haven for her. When she's open to share, she can always share with us. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like there's something that my mom always have this open bond between me and her.
Yeah.
That's something that I want with her as well, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And yeah.
Yeah. Let's do something fun before we end, like quick fire question.
Okay.
Like, what is something you dislike about me? You say first, then I say.
Dislike. I need scenarios. Dislike.
Like not listening to you, you always say.
Yeah, I feel like I have to repeat a lot of times. Like I wish you could dry your hair before you sleep.
Yeah, I
wet hair.
like to
That's
put the
gross.
towel, and then while I wait for it to dry, I fall asleep.
That's nasty. I was like, can you please freaking blow dry your hair? I cannot stand it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think for me is, I tell you before, right? Like, we buy a shoe cabinet, but you come back and put your shoes there. You don't put your shoe in the shoe cabinet, and your bag like in the.
No, to be fair, it's functional. To me, it's like I think everything serves a purpose.
Yeah.
But to you, it's like it's almost the cupboard, almost the rack. But to me, it's like but it's functionality. I just pick and go. So I think it's just differences. In yeah.
Yeah. What's the biggest regret you have?
Biggest regret. I don't regret a lot of things. But what's the scenario? What do you
Can be anything.
regret? I feel recently is investing early. Yeah, I feel investment. I wish I have more money. I
we
feel
always
like I
can have
spent
more
too much
money.
money earlier in my life. So I feel like if I could invest earlier,
I
that
think you
might
spend
help.
a lot on your photography props also.
Yeah. I would say regret, but I think right now I'm working towards marketing. Yeah. I would say regret. I would say working on to be a non-regret. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me it's also like I don't have any regrets. It's more like everything that we went through or I went through as a younger person, right? It's always a learning lesson, and I feel like we can always learn from it. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Final one. What is something that you want to achieve in the next 5 years?
Achieve. Wow, there's so many things to start. I want to say financial freedom, but I don't think.
What about for your
Being
photography business?
I always want to do mentorship.
Yeah.
So right now, I feel I'm still trying to build the business for it to stable. But mentorship has always been the back of my mind. I think I love to share a lot. As much as I don't post it on social media as much,
Yeah.
I would say that I like to do more educational stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, final question before we end. You know, if let's say in 2030, right? About 14 years from now, what kind of Singapore do you hope to see, especially for families like ours, that is not like your traditional family, right? It's queer families. What do you want to see in Singapore in 2030?
I hope there is more awareness through government platforms as well. Definitely more benefits for queer families.
Yeah.
Not only to families, but I would say also young queers as well. I think there's a lot of therapy or counselors to help out, Because I think a lot of time we always lack of resources. But I think one thing right now is that with social media, right?
Yeah.
It's so easy to pick up resources here and there. Yeah.
Cool. Well, Bip, thank you for your honesty and coming on this podcast. We try to be, something, represent something that a lot of people struggle with. Like I get a lot of messages, right? Like, you are a great representation for us, especially from queer people. And I think it's not easy for both of us. But thank you for being on this journey with me. I love you for it. I said I love you.
I love you too.
Yeah.
So
thank you again to Vivid Media Studio for sponsoring today's venue and hosting this conversation. Thank you.